Grayson, have you already looked at Michigan State on film yet? Have you gotten a chance to kind of get a feel for what they're going to be like?
Yeah, I've watched them a little bit. They have a very talented front court. They're a very big team. I think they match us in size. We tend to go big too, and when they go big with Bridges at the three, it's a pretty strong team. So it's going to be a very physical matchup for us.
In a lot of ways, they're the same team you guys played last year, whereas you guys are very different, other than yourself. As a leader, what's your responsibility here to get some of these guys who haven't played in a big game yet, haven't played in a neutral site yet, haven't played a team as good as Michigan State yet, to get them ready for that? I
just have to make sure they realize there's, all the other pressure, the attention on the game, the crowd that's going to be at the game, the hype surrounding it, the big matchup. None of it matters on the court. It's 5-on-5 still. It's the same thing we've done here at home. Now we just have to do it in Chicago on a bigger stage. And the thing about these freshmen, I think they actually play better when there's pressure on them. And I think that's probably because they're used to the spotlight being so highly recruited and so much attention on them in high school. But in our first two games, there was some stuff out there we did on the court that we didn't really see in practice. It just kind of developed out there, and it's because of their instincts once they actually get into the game. So I trust that they won't be nervous. There might be those first couple minutes, of course, but I definitely think they'll be ready and be able to block out the noise.
Grayson, how do you stop Miles Bridges? Looked at that?
Yeah, well, you slow him down. I don't know if you fully stop him, but he's a very good player. And he's going to draw a lot of attention from defenses, but their team they have a very well-balanced team. Nick Ward, he's a really good interior scorer. Him and the freshman Jackson, I got a chance to play with them both this summer, and both of them are very talented players, and so you can't put too much attention on Miles Bridges, even though he is really good. They still have a bunch of other pieces surrounding that. You got to guard those guys too. So that's a game plan that coaches are going to put together. We're going to try to limit their easy buckets, easy opportunities, fast break stuff. But other than that, it's just kind of slowing them down on offense.
What kind of personality is Bagley like in the locker room?
He's like quiet, shy, but friendly, and he's always in a positive mood. It's kind of it's like a quieter Harry Giles. I know a lot of you guys knew Harry. He was just loud, but always happy, and always kind of had that positive, uplifting attitude to him. And Marvin's the same way. He's just not as loud with it.
Last year you had Matt Jones to kind of slow down Miles Bridges by himself, so you could focus on guarding all those other guys. Who on your team now do you think is capable of defending like Matt did last year on the wings like that?
Well, first of all, Matt did an incredible job last year. Matt is one of the best perimeter defenders I've ever gone up against, and he did a great job matched up against a bigger guy, Miles Bridges. And Matt, he did a really good job of making him uncomfortable at the beginning. And kind of sending him to our help, which was our game plan last year. So it wasn't. Matt did an incredible job, but at the same time, it was a couple guys that we had to use to stop him. And so I think this year, we have a guys that can match up with him physically. We just have to, make sure we get the best perimeter defender on him because he steps outside so much. And I think Gary can do a good job. I believe we have a bunch of guys on the team. I think I can do a good job. That's a lot easier for me to say right here than to actually go into the game and do it. But I think we have a lot of guys that can do a pretty good job on him. But it's not going to be an individual effort. It's going to be, team, kind of sending him to the help and making sure everyone's recovering over.
What do you want to see from this team that you haven't seen yet?
I think that we see flashes of our ball movement right now, and it looks really, really good at some points. And then I think we have lapses in the game where we get into some one-on-one stuff, which is what guys naturally go to when they get tired, I think. And, in high school, you don't really have to think that much. You just go down, you play one-on-one, and you score. And with this team, when we get tired, I think we need to continue to move the ball and stick with our motion and our offense and making sure we're getting quality shots throughout the game. I've actually been very pleasantly surprised to see our defense doesn't really dip when we get tired. But that's we got to keep that up. It's only been 2 games, so that's something we got to continue. But we got to fight tired. I think that's a big thing for a lot of young players.
After the game Saturday, Coach said that he didn't want to overcoach the young guys and still have some structure but a little bit of freedom out there. How's that benefited you guys on the court in terms of building the chemistry and the flow on the court?
I think it's been good because it just lets us play, lets us follow our instincts, lets us, it really creates more of a chemistry when you're not just running through a set, when you're kind of figuring out what guys are going to do. And that opens up a lot of stuff. Like I said, we see stuff that we never done in practice, like a high-low action from Marvin to Wendell, and then Marvin cuts off it to the basket, gets a bounce pass for a dunk. I mean, there's a bunch of different stuff we can do in our offense that, you don't want to come down and say, okay, you pass here and cut there. You just want to say, okay, come down and move the ball and make a read. And when we have guy like Trey up top, who has done an incredible job of finding guys and not turning the ball over, and then these, versatile weapons in the other 4 spots that can, move around, you really don't want to, say, okay, you stand here and do this and do that. You don't want to lock them into a play. You want to teach guys to make reads, and it's actually a pretty awesome thing that the freshmen have been able to do a really good job with that so far.